Every coffee needs a lotus.
And welcome back to the second part of our afternoon session. This is the third day of the HR Virtual Summit Philippines, brought to you by Ariva Academy. For your questions, we'd like to encourage everyone to participate, especially those who are within the Zoom room. So if you are a Zoom participant, please type in your question at the Q&A box. We also would like to encourage you to do Zoom live questions. How to do that? Click the raise button to notify our administrator so that we can give you the platform. We would like to hear from you. We'd like to see you. And Sir Adrian will gladly answer your questions. We also have Facebook live streaming. And for the Facebook live viewers, type in your question in the comment section and we'll do our best to answer them. In the meantime, Sir Adrian, I'd like to maybe greet the birthday celebrants now, April 24, if it's okay with you.
Sure.
Okay, so Marline, Rose, Fabi, Medard Kiefer Sancha, Teresa Murillo, Gregorio Miguel, Leia Ungson, Verna Galang. Happy birthday to all of you. Happy birthday. And we also would like to greet our local participants. Earlier during this program, we had Madam President Iris Molonda Samson mention our participants from abroad, but now I would be reading from A to Z our participants: Albay, Angeles City, Pampanga, Baguio City, Benguet, Butuan City, Cabiao, Nueva Ecija, Cabuyao, Ilocos Sur, Cagayan de Oro City, Capas Tarlac, Cebu City, Dagupan, Pangasinan, Davao City, Dumaguete City, General Santos City, Iloilo City, La Trinidad, Benguet, La Union, Larena, Siquijor, Legazpi City, Liloan, Cebu City, Mabalacat City, Pampanga, Minglanilla, Cebu, Nasipit, Agusan del Norte, Pangasinan, Alaminos, Tugigaraw, and Zamboanga. Wow, that's a lot. Thank you so much for your support, fellow Filipinos from all parts of our country. Now, I have preset questions, but I think we need to prioritize the Q&A box. From Rose Ariane Rojas. So, Sir Adrian, how can you maximize your resources when your work resources at home is limited?
I think when it comes to allocation, of course, you need to do a stock check to see what is possible. I would definitely require more understanding of your situation. But for example, I think you really got to plan out what you would need to undertake in the course of your work. So, give an example. Because of the nature of my work, I would be heavily involved in things like this, a Zoom call, a webinar. And recently I realized that the webcam on my laptop just doesn't work. It makes me look like a Minecraft character. So I actually have to quickly go online to get a
Mhm.
webcam to fix it up. In fact, I went overboard. I even bought a green screen lighting,
Wow.
which I couldn't get it to work because it's just too much production work. So I think you have to understand exactly where the limitation and see again how you can fix it. Yes, some of it might be costly, but I'm very certain in the cost of your work, if it's something that could help you to perform better, it will be
Mhm.
worth the investment. And of course, try to ask your company whether they are able to sponsor you for that, so that you could make it work for them. Because at the end of the day, all this is trying to reach a better outcome. So the fact that I'm doing this, I'm trying to reach a better outcome for myself, for my company. So it all makes sense. So again, really have to look at the kind of limitation that you have and what you need to make this work. And you don't have to go for the top most expensive option.
Mhm.
I was initially quite tempted to get a webcam that costs probably double or triple the price of this because it's
Wow.
a 4K webcam. But then it got me thinking, my TV is not even 4K. Why do I need a webcam that's 4K? It doesn't make sense. I should spend a 4K, I should spend my money on a 4K TV instead.
Yeah.
So whatever works at a bare minimum would be sufficient for you. And that would be something for you to start off with. And of course, as it builds up habit and your confidence, then of course along the way try to see how you can upgrade it.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Sir Adrian. We have a Zoom live question from Juliet Artillero. Juliet, are you there? Hello? Is Juliet here? Can you hear us? We have Juliet. In the meantime, while Juliet is being brought into the room, I'd like to say hi to the people from Parañaque and Naga City. We also have participants from the NCR and the Bicol region. So is Juliet here? Okay. In the meantime, let's focus on and move on to the second question in the Q&A box from John Terence Tesorero. What is the proper way to measure productivity during a work from home set?
In my personal opinion, I think the way to measure productivity, whether you're doing it from home or even in office, is trying to find something which could be quantifiable.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe, I'm not sure about the context over there, but at least in Singapore, many companies who are thrown off guard to deploy work from home find it very
Mm-hmm.
challenging. Many
Mm-hmm.
managers, many bosses would always think that, oh, you're at home, you must be watching Netflix, you're not working. Um, which is why for the longest time they always measure you based on processes. They measure you based on the time you come in, the time you leave, the number of toilet breaks you go to, the number of smoke breaks you go to, never
Mm-hmm.
about your work. And I actually read somewhere that if your manager do not know how to measure you based on outcome,
Oh,
they don't deserve to be managers. They need
okay.
management training. So whether it's at home, it's at work, trying to measure the outcome is very important. And this is
Mm-hmm.
something made popular by Google based on their OKR, objective key results. So what's your objective? As a marketer, my objective is to raise awareness of the company. What's my key result? One key result, write 12 blog posts per quarter. So at any point in time, you will be able to measure. So do I have close to 12? I'm at midway mark. Am I at 6? Am I at 7? Am I behind?
Mm-hmm.
And just follow through that. So it is very easy to measure. So if you are able to crank out all 12 blog posts within your first week, it doesn't matter. You are able to do so. End of the day is
Yes.
about outcome. And then you can spend the rest of your day playing Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is. Doesn't really matter. Again, it's all based on outcome.
So for as long as you have delivered the goods, you can do
That's right.
whatever you want. Now, Lenji or Lengi or Lengai or Lenji Bandoha. We are into supply of goods and services to shipping industries. What job or positions can possibly be into work from home if they're into shipping or
Mm.
supply chain?
I think be it shipping or any different industries,
Mm-hmm.
the really possible kind of work that could be done remotely would be work
Mhm.
that isn't dependent on a location. So, for example, when you talk about food and beverage, if you need to open your outlet, there's no way this group of people can work from home. So, usually for any companies, they would want to look at their back office people, their accountant, their administrator, their customer service people, their telemarketer. So, these are the kind of positions that would easily work well in a remote work setting. Because anything else, you have to be on site. You have to
Okay.
open your retail outlet, you have to go to the warehouse, you have to make sure you're driving a truck. So there will be some function which, of course, remote work would not be that possible for them.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Well, there's an anonymous attendee question. What are the advantages of working from home? I guess you've already, and I'm sure we have already discussed that. Now, from Edgardo Teaxon, will we be, can we have a copy of this training or maybe the PowerPoint? So we'll ask
Oh,
Ariva.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
Ask Ariva.
What I will PDF the version or send over to Ariva, and then
Okay.
you guys could disseminate it.
You can send them the link. Jester Roque, hi sir. Regarding self-isolation, being an extrovert person is so hard. In line with this, how can we address anxiety attack during this crisis and work productively? Thanks.
Thank you, Jester, for the question. I may not be the best person to address this because I'm an introvert,
You're
but I'll
also
try
an
my
introvert.
best. Because I do have friends and acquaintances who are extrovert. Really, for them, it is very, very painful, very, very tricky
Mhm.
because they yearn for that physical contact. And in fact, research has shown that physical intimacy, cuddling, hugging, handshake,
Mhm.
any form of physical touch actually releases hormones in your body.
Yes.
Three kind of hormones, dopamine being one of them. So these are things that would of course help to make one happy. And for extrovert, the lack of it is really, really painful. It's like an alcoholic going without alcohol.
Yeah.
So I think you would want to find the best possible alternative. For example, are you able to structure any regular Zoom calls with your friend?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be about work. I personally did a virtual tea session. I also personally attended a book sharing club recently. I would highly suggest doing more of a smaller setting because of the book sharing club that we did, I think there was like about 10, 12 people. It was extremely draining.
Mm, I
Yeah,
agree.
any large setting, if everyone gets the chance to speak, will not work very well. You may just want to do one-to-one
Yeah.
so that you can catch up with your friend, just to keep each other updated, to see what's going on. I think given the current period that we are in, this is really the next best alternative that we have.
Thank you, Sir Adrian. Now, I think the next question very much has been answered by you a while back, but let me read this still. Andres Justino Abalos, how do we measure productivity under the new normal work conditions? You mentioned about it should be quantifiable.
Yep.
Wancho Talili, how were you able to stop smoking and drinking? You mentioned about mindfulness. What sort of exercise can you share with us?
So I think somehow the practice of mindfulness really minimize the trigger neurons, if there's such a
Mm,
thing, in my brain.
mhm.
So when I have to abstain from something, I don't find the urge to go back to it.
Wow.
But I'll give a bit of context about my smoking thing. So it happens in February. I was actually in New Delhi for a meeting. And if you read about it, New Delhi actually has one of the worst pollution in the world.
Yes.
PSI on average is about 300 plus. So every day I was struggling to get fresh air. And I actually brought my running gear, but you
Mm,
wouldn't run in a 300 PSI setting. So I was asking myself, why the hell do I still smoke? It doesn't make
mm,
sense.
mm.
So at that point in time, I committed to stop smoking and I stopped entirely. And the urge never came back. Unlike the previous instances, and I've tried quitting for, I don't know, 20,
Okay.
30 different times before that, it never worked, it never stick. But this time round, it stuck. And then, of course, I was still drinking and I reached a stage where maybe I could try to apply this into drinking as well. So I just stopped. I gave away all my red wine, stopped everything. Although I still have a bottle of monkey shoulders that I'm struggling to
Mm,
finish right now. So again, I'm 90%, I'm not 100. But caffeine was something I went cold turkey. So I read a book called Sleep. Sleep is one of the book that Bill Gates mentioned in his 2019 book recommendation email. So I got the audiobook, I listened to it, and of course there was a chapter about caffeine and how caffeine affects your sleep, etc. So I thought, okay, let me give it a try. Day two was extremely painful.
Mhm.
I was trying to find a fork and poke myself because it was so bad. I have a throbbing headache the entire day. But after that, everything seems okay. And right now, when I wake up, the cortisol level just flush in straight away. I won't have that grouchy feeling where I need to
Mhm.
get a cup of espresso to wake myself up. So I think there are some long-term benefits because of that. And all this, I'm assuming, started because of the mindfulness practice that somehow changed the way I perceive things.
Wow, good for you. Because some of us will not be able to do that in an instant. And maybe some of us still would experience several relapses. But good for you. And hope and wish you well, Andres Justino Abalos. Now, Romaline Aniceto has a question. I think there is a need to revisit the KPI of employees due to this work from home setup. What factors do you think should be looked at to be included in the KPI to see if the employees are really being productive?
So again, I think if you look at things from an output
Output.
angle, it will always make things very easy.
Mm.
Instead of ensuring people spend time doing up content, for example, look at it from output. So output would be 12 blog posts. Instead of getting them to make 100 cold calls a day, the output would be get 20 warm leads.
Mhm.
So again, the process really doesn't matter because you may need to do 100 calls to get 20 leads. You may need to on a good day you may do 20 calls to get 20 leads.
Yeah.
End of the day you're just looking at 20 leads. I think the key challenge is really for management because and this is something that many Singapore companies are also at fault of because especially for people like myself, we have served military, we have conscription here in Singapore. And oftentimes you realize, especially in the army, we tend to do things very slowly because the notion is if you finish this task right now
Mhm.
on time or ahead of time, new tasks will be given to you. Yeah, so I think that generally is the
Mhm.
mindset or approach for many management or bosses. So I think there was a very impactful TED talk by one of the richest guy in Mexico. I can't remember his name. He was talking about he imposed a very strict restriction on output. So if you only have to produce 10 widgets per day, stick with 10 widgets.
Yeah.
Don't do 12, don't do 15.
Mm.
Because if you do 12, do 15, we need to find more retailers to carry our stock. You're giving us more problem.
Okay.
Stop at that. But a lot of bosses, a lot of management, they do not know what is enough. So if you do not know what is enough, there will always never be a common measurement of things. So I think even if you want to impose something on yourself, it really require the buy-in from management to understand, okay, let's agree this is enough. And if this is enough, what is the output of enough? And we will all stand by it, be it good time or be it bad time.
Thank you, Sir Adrian. Now, one anonymous attendee has an opinion or maybe a thought. Hi, I think Sir Adrian missed out the number 3 on the
Number
steps on how managers can support remote employees. Thank you. Yeah. 6 steps management can do to help employees
Oh,
be more
okay.
productive. The number 3. Thank you for that, anonymous attendee, for the reminder. For
Oh, I
noting.
did. I'm so sorry about it. Let me clean this up and then I'll make sure
It's
that it's
okay, sir.
covered in
So
your.
if I could, while you're looking at it, if you can just read it, number 3, or we can just type it later if you want.
Sure, I'll do that.
Okay, thank you, sir. Moving on. Where are we now? Just Roque. I think it has been answered already.
Yep.
Maria Victoria Vicaldo. How to overcome distractions of family when working and to be more focused. You have given us that in your individual productivity list, which is 8.
Hmm. I think when it comes to family, I think the key thing is really to set the boundary.
Yeah.
So for myself, when I have to do something like this, I would of course come into my room. I would lock the door. I would even put up signages, like hotel, the do not disturb thing that you put on your doorknob. Yeah,
Mm.
something like that. Again, you have to set the parameter. You cannot expect that,
Mm.
oh, you have a webinar, you're going to do it in your room and your kids know about it. They have
Okay.
no clue what you're doing. They just think that you're not playing with them, you're ignoring them. No, that's not the case. You need to let them know that this is what is happening. And I think to an extent, really, you have to educate them what is going on as well so that they can understand or at least try to learn to understand because end of the day, they have to start somewhere. So I think all this would be very useful. And of course, if you have a partner to help you take care of things, split the load.
Yes.
So if I have to do this, maybe my wife will take care of
Mm.
them. If she has a call, I will take care of the kids, so on and
Yes.
so forth. So try to find anchor of support that you can internally.
Thank you, Sir Adrian. Now, Elmer Mar has a question. Sir Adrian, you talked about the do's to be productive. How about the don'ts? I must assume that the don'ts are the opposite of the do's.
Oh yes, I was just about to say that.
Mhm.
Yes, you're right. The dons are just the opposite. That means you do things randomly. You have your notification on. You have your handphone by
Mhm.
your side.
Yeah.
You don't set parameters with your family. So essentially, all the opposites.
Thank you, Sir Adrian. And thank you, Sir Elmer, for that question. Francis Nesitas Lim. What Baroque music is your favorite? Please share three bests.
To be honest, I am not very familiar with Baroque music. I essentially found a Baroque playlist on Spotify, and I often just play it in shuffle mode. So I'm not even sure what music, which conductor, who's the composer I'm listening to. I'm just
Mm,
enjoying the music. So and I don't think there's many Baroque playlists on Spotify. So just find
yeah.
anyone that you can on Spotify and then start streaming away.
Okay. Sir, from Facebook Live, let me read this appreciation from Men Rosendo Maceda. Thank you to the Ariva Academy and to speaker Adrian Tan for giving this afternoon of inspiration to the indoors because of the crisis the world is experiencing. So thank you for those words of gratitude. And thank you, Sir Adrian, for sharing your experiences, knowledge that comes from you, and Sir Howell. More power. God bless. Keep safe from Chona Prado, a Zoom participant. Okay. Anonymous attendee, how do you deal with communication issues and being out of the loop and bad health habits? I think the bad health habits has already been addressed by you a while back. What about
Mm.
communication issues?
Well, I think it depends on what kind of communication issues that you're talking about. I believe for many, it might be the lack of communication or there's too much communication, unnecessary communication, especially because everyone will not be in the office. The notion of or the practice of a reply all is very
Mhm.
tempting to ensure that
Yes.
no one is out of loop. So I think these are things that you have to take into consideration. Of course, as an individual, there's only so much you can do to limit this. So again, you would have to determine what would be the right communication, what are the right things to talk about. And if there's certain chat groups that just doesn't add any value to you, ask permission whether you can exit. Or if you can't, just mute it and check in only when you have it scheduled in your calendar. So last time I was so anal to the extent I actually scheduled time for me to check Facebook. I scheduled time for me to check
Mm.
email. I don't do that anymore because again the discipline builds up. But I think you have to really be very disciplined about all this. There will be external issues that you cannot
Yeah.
control, but you definitely can control what you want to do when you want to check your messages. And again, if it's messages, if it's memo, uh, I dare say they're not really that important because if it's really important, you will have gotten 3 missed calls.
That is both smart and practical. Thank you, Sir Adrian. From John Terence Tesorero, how can we better handle work pressure while working from home? So he never specified where pressure is coming from, where that pressure is.
Okay, if I look at things from an output perspective, so I would try to reverse engineer. So, for
Mm.
example, let's talk about someone, let's use an example of someone who is doing sales or lead
Mhm.
generation. So, if every month I'm looking at bringing 50 warm leads, how many cold email, how many cold calls do I have to make?
Okay.
Let's assume 300.
Mhm.
How 300 over 20 working days per month. So
Yes.
you divide accordingly, and then out of each day, how many hours could you actually spend on those work? Okay, so let's say it's just 3 hours. So are you able to allocate 3 hours doing deep isolated work just to get this done? Okay, if the answer is yes, you are able to fulfill your target, or at least you're close to fulfilling your target. You know that whatever bite-sized activities you're doing is nudging you towards that. So the challenge when of work pressure comes is when you do not know what is your top funnel. You know what's your bottom funnel, but you have no idea where to start. You may be doing random calls, you're not keeping track. And of course, when you're not measuring, there's no way for you to benchmark, there's no way for you to improve. So you have to determine what is the end point, reverse engineer that to a starting point, and see whether it makes sense. I think that would help to alleviate a lot of work pressure along the way.
I agree. I think if you don't divide them into chunks, you will be overwhelmed by the result you have to deliver at point B. Now, Rose Arian Rojas. Some belong to the older generation and they are not very much familiar with the use of technology, be it using smartphones or laptops. So, what would you recommend them so that they can catch up with the work from home and workload will be more productive?
I think it really doesn't matter what is your preference, because either way you would be able to complete your work somehow. It of course depending on what you believe would be a more useful tool. Like for myself, I prefer to work on a laptop. I could operate and function through a digital, a smart device, but I don't think it works. I mean, the sheer fact that I recommended using a mouse, I think says a
Um,
lot. Yeah, so I see things from a very practical standpoint. I feel that a keyboard I can type faster, a mouse I can move faster, so that would help me to shave time. Compared to someone who may be able, who is much more productive, much smarter, faster than me, but because I have all this infrastructure in place, I'm able to be on par with him or her. So again, if you're more familiar or if you're much more comfortable with laptop, be laptop. I'm very certain you're able to find the laptop version of what you're trying to use. Like for example, our ZP tools, we have it on laptop, we have it on the smartphone. So again, it's not restricted to just a single device. So it's really up to you to decide what is best for you.
Okay, thank you, Sir Adrian. Now, Lizzie Zakurum Flores. Hi, Miss Lizzie. He would like, Mom Lizzie, she would like to thank you, Sir Adrian, for being such an excellent resource. Thank you to Ariva. Thank you to Madam Irish Malon Basamsi. And thank you to the whole family. So, Desiree or Desiree Buenafit. When do you feel most productive at work? Is it maybe it's the time of the day? When do you feel most productive?
I think my more productive day at work would be in the morning,
Mm.
especially before my kids wake up.
Okay.
Because you don't have to handle any form of ad hoc disruption, which again is why I try my best to wake up early. I mean, seriously, waking up at 5:30 is painful. It's really, really painful. No amount of meditation can practice you to wake up that early. But still, if you want to, if you want to catch the worm, you have to wake up early,
Yes.
and that's what I do. So to earn that bracket, the small bracket of time, of quiet time, where you don't hear anything, the sky is barely bright, and really focus on doing your stuff. But of course, when you gain that bracket of time, you have to put it to good use. If I use that bracket of time to scroll through Instagram, then well, you're not gonna achieve much.
I agree. Thank you, sir. Well, thank you, Ma'am Desiree, for that question. Now let's move on to Sir Ezekiel Estanislao. Can you, sir, kindly post the apps you are currently using on the Use Tech to Save Time slide?
Sure, will do. As mentioned earlier on, I would send the PDF version of the slide across, and Ariva would be able to disseminate to everyone later on.
Okay. So, anonymous attendee, what can you say about people working from home but not aware of their daily itinerary?
Well, I think you are really trying to run a marathon without knowing where is the end destination, or trying to go through a day, or like what they always say, if you are not planning, then you're
You're
actually in
planning to
someone
fail.
else's plan.
Mm.
Yeah, so I think planning is very important for you to take stock of what you want to do, and also with a smart plan, it would be something that is quantifiable. Again, back to the output portion. Otherwise, it's very hard for you to measure. You're just measuring, okay, I started work at 9, I finish at 6. It doesn't take into account anything else. You may be playing Facebook the whole day, you may be watching Netflix, you may be having a 2-hour break, you may be
Yes.
having a siesta. All these are
Mm.
not accounted for. So I think planning the day, again, very important. Put it into a calendar. And since you mentioned itinerary, so just treat it like you'll be going for a holiday. You know, when you go for a holiday, there's always an itinerary. So day one, we're going to do this. Morning, we're going to go for this sightseeing. And then afternoon, we're going to do that. Same thing. Do that for your work. It doesn't have to be unique every day. I'm very certain there's some commonality day to day, but just make sure you have it, work towards it, and I think that will help you to arrive at a much better or desired outcome.
Wonderful. Thank you. Now, Michael Philip Pepa has a question. Working from home will test all employees. What if some what if some just saying I'm working but really is not? How can the management deal with it?
So when it comes to working from home, again, if you're using an output or outcome-driven approach, everything else will still be the same. If you deliver the goods, good. You are within expectation. If you don't deliver and consistently don't deliver, management have to find out why. And if you're consistently not delivering, then I don't think you're the right person for me. And management has to take a very pragmatic
Yeah.
approach. So it will work. It will work both ways. There would definitely always be that 1-2% that would try to make use of situation. So by measuring everyone on output, you're putting all of them on the same footing. So there's no favoritism. Everyone is measured the same way. Just deliver the goods, and then we'll continue the relationship next month. If you don't deliver the goods, let's find out what is wrong. If there's
Yes.
anything I can help you with, if I put in all the effort to help you, to guide you, to coach you, performance improvement plan, nothing is still happening, I'm so sorry. Maybe this role is not suitable for you. We need someone else to do it instead.
Okay. Now, Charito Lontayao, in establishing rules of engagement, is it possible to ask suggestions from subordinates to ensure that good working relationship can be obtained even on a work from home setup?
Oh yes, I would highly suggest that any rules of engagement get some inputs from your subordinates because they would have a sense of buy-in. So you can imagine if someone were just to dictate to us that, okay, we're going to do a daily stand-up meeting at 12 midnight. No buts.
Mm.
Whoever is involved is not going to be very happy about it
I
because they
agree.
may have their own life, they will have their own challenges. So by taking into consideration everyone's pinpoint inputs, okay, we want to do 4 p.m. Oh, I'm so sorry, I can't do 4. How about 3? Everyone okay
Mhm.
with 3? Okay, let's do 3. You would also run the lesser risk of that person not turning up, for example. So I think getting inputs from everyone to come to a common consensus would really work well in the long run.
Thank you. Aiza Navarrete, how can working from home contribute to your personal and or professional growth?
I think if you are looking at working from home per se, the fact that you don't have to spend time dressing up, traveling to work,
Mhm.
having long lunches with your colleagues, or going shopping during
Mhm.
office hours, etc., all these are time saved. And of course, with the time saved, there's two things you can do. One, you can spend those time on entertainment. You can spend a
Yeah.
few hours saved on Instagram, on TikTok videos, or you could spend a portion of that time doing self improvement. You could be reading a book, you could be listening to a podcast, doing whatever that makes sense for you to upskill yourself. And it doesn't really have to be something that is relevant to your work. I personally feel that learning itself, whatever the topic is, would
Mhm.
actually have a good impact, a positive impact on yourself, regardless of the topic. The sheer fact of learning. So look at how you can put that into practice to level up, as gamers would call it, level up, gain your experience, and of course, once the dust has settled, and be it whether we are out of this situation or not, the experience gain would definitely help you in a lot of ways.
Thank you. Now, anonymous attendee asks this question. We are on a BTL agency, and most of the events and projects are being put on hold. Some are even canceled. What are other activities or tasks can we do to sustain the company aside from the business continuity plans?
I think similar to what Ariva is doing. If correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you guys have been doing a lot of offline events as well,
Events
predominantly.
and
But
projects.
of course, because of the situation, every one of us are forced to do things online, and of course, which result in things like this to build up the goodwill, to really experiment with things. I dare say 1 month ago, I'm not as affluent with Zoom as I am right now. I dare say the same for you, perhaps. In fact, I just learned that you could actually live stream a Zoom call onto Facebook. I learned something again today, which
Yes,
I can
true, true.
apply maybe in my next webinar. So for a BTL agency, I think you want to look at what are the things that can still be done. In Singapore setting, I know of companies that, for example, they wanted to hold a HR tech event. They put it online. They wanted
Mm,
to hold a career fair. They push it online, make it a virtual career fair. A lot of things are going virtual, just to keep the engagement going. So it may or may not result in any tangible outcome, profits and all. I mean, an offline event can sorry an online event can never match the profit of an offline event. That's for sure. But
that's for
given what we
sure.
have right now, you still have to do something, because even if you refuse to do it, your competition is not going to stop for you. They will still do it. So you're just trying to make sure that you're on par. People still remember you. So when things get better, and things will get better, you will exit this isolation in a better state with the context that you have built up through virtual, translate it into an offline setting. So I think these are small little things that we can do. So it's really very much like the sales cycle. We are constantly stuck in this lead gen mode right now. We can't close the sale. But what you can do is you can double down, triple down on lead gen so that you have a larger base. So when you can really funnel down the sales funnel, you would have more leads to look at.
Thank you. Anonymous attendee, our job is usually just 8 hours a day. However, in work from home scenario, the work assigned to us is continuous and is beyond 8 hours. How would we handle it?
So I think going back, the rules of engagement would really help.
Yes.
Because if you can establish that well, it would really be very helpful. Because if you don't tell people, people wouldn't know that, oh, at night you have to prepare dinner, you have to be involved in
Yeah.
taking care of an elderly parent, for example, you have to go for a health checkup. Nobody would know unless you tell them.
True.
And I think an earlier question was also about when to knock off. And this is
Mhm.
something that I also have some issue with, because it would really be quite tough as you constantly just sit your butt on the chair and not knowing. Sometimes working from home could be something like entering a casino. By the time you exit a casino, you realize, oh shit, it's been 3 days. So you have to remind yourself when is the right time to go. If you
Mm,
think you may have trouble reminding yourself, set a reminder, a calendar on your phone, on an alarm clock before you even start work. 6 o'clock, set a reminder. 5 o'clock, set a reminder, so that, okay, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, shut down. That's it, done.
no.
Done and over with. For the more technically savvy one, maybe at your Wi-Fi router, 5 o'clock onwards, no Wi-Fi. Then you totally have to stop working. Otherwise, it would really just be going through the motion over and over again, and stress will build up. Stress will indeed build up, and then you just make you have a lousier next day, and it will just
Yes.
continue snowball.
And they will be less productive the second day and the third day. And they,
Exactly.
thank you, sir. For our, well, time flies so fast when you're having fun.
Yeah.
It's already 1.5 into our program, and we're down to the last question we can entertain for now. Neri Marasigan, thank you for sharing with us, Sir Adrian. Thank you, Ariva, for organizing this. My question is, anticipating that we might be back in the office after 2 weeks, how can we best transition our teammates to go back to the normal work arrangement or office work arrangement after being on a work from home arrangement for more than a month?
Hmm. Understand. So thank you so much for this question. I think the key thing is not to make a major transition change. when it comes to change management, it is always done in phases. So for example, instead of getting them straight into the office 5 days a week, let's do staggered. So maybe just 3 days, and then we move on to 4 days, move on to
Okay.
5 days. So if you have whatever loose ends you have to settle at home, do it at home. But I think the key thing for many companies as well is, and this is something that's definitely applied to my company, is we are actually asking ourselves, is it really necessary to have so much real estate? Do we really need a table for everyone? Uh, now that they're all working from home, are they as productive? It seems that they are. So why do we still need so many offices? So I think companies also have to start asking themselves the same question. If you're able to get the same kind of deliverables, why do you need to spend money on rental? And if you don't spend money on rental, that means people can continue to work from home. And it might appeal to a different group of talents that consistently has always been missed out from your radar because they just need that flexibility. So I think
Wow.
at a larger angle, employers want to look into that aspect. But for those of you who are transiting your employees back into normal arrangement, try to do it progressively instead of getting them from 0 days in office straight away to 5 days in office.
Okay. Thank you, Sir Adrian. Now, you know what? I'd like to personally thank you for the 1.5 hours of very informative, highly engaging, truly helpful knowledge, wisdom, experience that you've shared with us. Distilling all your life's experiences in the marketplace, telling us the practical and doable things to be more productive working at home and working from home. For the last minute, we call it the takeaway. So, Sir Adrian, what can our participants in Zoom, viewers in FB Live, YouTube, and LinkedIn take away from you? The nugget of wisdom you had over the past many years, decades of working.
I think
as
the
a
key thing
professional.
to take away from here is, and I think we probably have seen before the crisis actually kicked in, if you were to ask yourself back then, is it possible to work from home 100%? You probably may have said
Mhm.
no. But
Mhm.
3 weeks, 4 weeks into this whole thing, we realize a different thing. So possibilities are always there, just that sometimes we are blindsided. It's a blind spot, we just couldn't see
Yes.
them. And for those of you who are still struggling to figure things out, please don't just take it from me. There may be other people that have been there, done that, going through the same thing as
Mhm.
yourself. Your problem is not unique. I'm not trying to say this to make you feel otherwise. You are still
Mhm.
special, but the problems are not unique. Someone else, somewhere out there, are facing the same thing. But you have to go out of your comfort zone to understand from them, to align with them, to understand what they are doing better so that you can apply it for yourself. So you don't have to start from scratch. Whatever problem you're facing right now, someone else will have faced it. So like I was sharing with a group of undergraduates from NTU recently, they were very concerned about finding jobs in the job market right now, and they do not know what to do. So I don't have the best answer for them because
Mhm.
I wasn't an undergrad in a bear market. But I told them, again, you're not unique because the graduates in the year 2008, Lehman Brothers, in the year 2003, SARS, in the year
Mhm.
1997, Asian financial crisis,
Mhm.
faced the same thing. Find this group of people out, ask them how you manage to go around it, and they will definitely help you. Get career advice from them instead. Why do you have to reinvent the wheel? So if you're thinking that you do not know how to design a wheel to begin with, don't bother. Someone has already designed it, tried it out, tested, upgraded it to version 2. Just try to
Mhm.
see whether their version 2 works for you. If not, how could you make small modification?
Thank you, Sir Adrian. With that, we'd like to give you a big round of applause, everyone. Thank you so much, Sir Adrian, broadcasting live from Singapore. What a pleasure to have moderated this learning program for Ariva Academy, having you, Sir Adrian, as our resource speaker. We hope to see you in person somehow soon here in the Philippines.
Likewise. Thank you so much.
And
Thanks for the time.
at this point, I'd like to call on our dear President, Madam Irish Malonda Samson. We're not done yet. Our Zoom participants, please stay with us for a couple more minutes. So, Madam Irish Malonda Samson.
Yes, thank you, Sir Howell. That was indeed a very informative, awesome presentation for Miss Adrian Tan. So thank you so much, Sir Adrian, for giving us strategies, tips, insights on how to be productive when you work from home, especially nowadays that most of us are working from home. So in behalf of Ariva Academy, thank you so much.
Thank you, Sir
And
Adrian.
also, Sir Howell, thank you so much for being our moderator today.
Always a pleasure.
Yes, I'll be seeing you tomorrow again for another free session, free e-learning session.
Are
So
you going to ask me for the
Okay, go
takeaway?
ahead.
Okay. Remember this morning how I appreciated the animated, highly energetic speaker?
This morning.
Now, what I appreciate is, well, we appreciate it that much, the morning session of high energy. This morning, I appreciate the calm. This afternoon, with Sir Adrian, I appreciate the calm. I appreciate the peace. I appreciate the practicality, the pragmatism. I appreciate it a lot. And I believe that hundreds of our participants also appreciated the same. He is an epitome of a person who's mindful. And that is my takeaway.
Wow, that was so profound. And we are very blessed actually for having two global speakers join us today.
The third
and of
day
course,
of HR
yes,
Summit.
yes, sir. So thank you so much. I'll be seeing you tomorrow.
Thank you, Madam Irish. See you tomorrow. And thanks,
Bye-bye,
everyone.
sir.
Don't go away.
Okay, and for the participants who wants to request for a copy of the deck of our speaker, Mr. Adrian Tan, please do email us. Please do send a request to arivaacademy@gmail.com. Let me repeat that, arivaacademy@gmail.com. And for those of you who want to watch again the replay, who wants to watch the replay of our e-learning session today, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's Ariva Academy and Ariva Talks. Okay, moving on, please allow me first to acknowledge our participants from Toyota Otis. Hello there. Thank you for joining us today. Participants and employees of Philippine Ports Authority and Social Housing Finance Corporation. Thank you for joining us today. And also our participant from Naga, Kamsur Naga, Miss Natalie Balsena. From Bellevue CDO, Miss Janet Lumawag. From Antipolo, Gary Ginga. And from Marikina City, our FB Live viewers, Ms. Men Maceda, Lisel Santos, and April Bautista. Thank you so much for joining us today. And moving on, we would like to thank the following win-win sponsors. Our official media partner, Art Plus Magazine. Digital media partners, Focus Media. Globaltronics, City Advertising Ventures, Outcome, Elevate Media. For win-win partners, thank you to Brother, Faber-Castell, Gluta-C, Moringa O2, KFC, Mr. Donut, Tokyo, Lotus Biscoff, Boss Job, CERT Technology Inc., Finma Properties, Perajet, Ilawi Korea, Kitoson and Carpo Consulting, Enchanted Kingdom, Disperse, Cosmotech Philippines Inc. And if you want to place your ads here, advertise your company, your logo, have a brand exposure locally and internationally, please do email us at marketing@ariva.com.ph. And don't forget to like us on Facebook, Ariva Academy Philippines Inc. Please do scan this QR code. This will be directed to our Facebook page. Don't forget to like us, Ariva Academy Philippines Inc. For those of you who want to watch the replay of today's session with Mr. Adrian Tan, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's Ariva Academy and Ariva Talks. It is a library of our previous e-learning sessions. So don't forget to share and subscribe. Okay, for our upcoming online learning sessions, this will be tomorrow, guys. So we will be having Mr. Chinky Tan. He will be discussing manage money in a crisis, strategies to manage your money better. His time slot is 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. So please do register for tomorrow's session. And of course, we will be having the moderator a while ago, Mr. Howell Mabalat. He will be discussing selfless leadership, leading your people through turbulent times. This will be on April 28th, Tuesday. Don't forget to register as well. Okay, and for those of you, for those HR professionals, people managers, business owners, please do register. We would like to invite you to our HR Virtual Summit PH 2020 Bounce Back HR. We have invited international and local subject matter experts. To register, please do visit our website. It's www.ariva.com.ph. Again, it's www.ariva.com.ph. And here are the next series. We will be inviting Mr. Scott Friedman from United States. He will be discussing how to survive and thrive during turbulent times. This will be on Monday, April 27. And on April 30, yes, Miss Pip Penfold will be joining us to discuss leverage HR technology to power up innovation. April 30, don't forget. Another international speaker, Dr. Indigo Triplet. She will be discussing from surviving to thriving and the new normal. In the new normal, this will be on April 30 as well in the afternoon. And we have an e-learning masterclass by none other than Mr. Jonathan Yabut. He will be discussing online selling from home, how to use FB, IG, and LinkedIn in your business. This will be on May 7. Don't forget, May 7, 4 to 6 p.m. And another e-learning masterclass from Mr. Jonathan Yabut. This will be leading a work from home workforce. This is for the managers. How to manage and develop your remote teams. This will be on May 14, Thursday, 4 to 6 p.m. as well. And if you want to customize an e-learning session exclusive for your company, for your team, invite our Ariva Speakers Bureau, invite our guest speakers. Please do reach me at 0916-695-4418 or email me at irish.arivaacademy@gmail.com. And that's it, guys. Thank you for joining us today. So please don't forget to register tomorrow. Mr. Chinkitan will be with us in Ariva. It's all about being better. Please stay home and be safe. Okay, guys? Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? Happy, sha-la-la. It's so nice to be happy, sha-la-la. Everybody should be